Kamala Harris responded to the indictment of James Comey, which, by the way, a lot of people are calling James Comey Jim Comey. As a total side note, do we need to shorten the name James? It's one syllable. We need to shorten it to a shorter one syllable. James, Jim. Okay, whatever. Kamala Harris has a 5-word response to Comey indictment. We'll look at this. Then a bunch of updates you're going to want to see on, including learning about the person prosecuting Comey, who's a little unqualified. And then Comey's interview and Trump effing up his whole own prosecution against Comey with his lack of control of himself. But first, this was the response to the prosecution. I'm going to read it verbatim. A potty word's going to come out of my mouth. But if the former vice president said it, I can say it. Quote, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Kamala Harris says, whoa, the United States Department of Justice? It's frustrating, but more than that, it's painful to see. It's painful to see, she said. Yeah, absolutely. One thing I just want to quickly, then we'll talk about how Trump is messing this up. Even people say, oh, I bet you won't fact check Kamala Harris. Yes, I will. Of course I will. She's correct. Fact check. We don't have Cole here today, but Don Jr.'s voice would go fact check true if he were here. About the, are you effing kidding me? This is insane, which is true about the prosecution of Comey just being a vindictive political prosecution by Trump. And if Trump could figure out a way to prosecute Kamala Harris, he would do that too. But she does keep claiming, just while we're on the subject of her, to get this out of the way, that she lost the closest election to Trump. Let's see, in the 21st century, let's hear.
Closest election for President of the United States in the 21st century.
Wow, I know that's right. And a Howard grad did that. Here.
And a Howard grad did that.
Okay, so, I mean, it was a close election in the sense that it wasn't that many votes across the swing states that would have made the difference. It was a electoral landslide in the electoral votes, but in each swing state, if you add those votes up, it wouldn't be that much to tip it. The popular vote wasn't the widest gap we've ever seen at all. It was pretty narrow. But I wasn't able to find, so I don't know, someone must have said that to her. I don't know, and she said it a few times. I don't know why she keeps saying that, because in the popular vote, it wasn't the closest. In recent memory, there's been closer. In the Electoral College, it wasn't, obviously. And then if you calculate just how many votes in the swing states would it have taken for her to win, to swing the election, and that wasn't the closest margin there either. But it was close, relatively, historically, by some metrics. I don't know why she's making that claim, though. So there we go. I don't know where she got it from, but that's not correct. And hopefully somebody corrects that. But back to Trump. He is doing himself a huge disservice with his inability to shut up about this, because he's setting up Comey's defense perfectly, as Dan says.
And Rachel, Dan, all of these public statements from the president could actually help James Comey get this thrown out by a judge.
Correct. I mean, look, that's going to be the first question: is this case even going to make it to trial? Is a judge going to throw out this case? And that is certainly going to be part of the defense's argument, is citing each and every one of the social media posts by the president demanding this prosecution and looking at the sort of the history of how we got here.
And if that happens, we could see this whole thing go to the Supreme Court.
We could, but I think that the more likely scenario is that the Supreme Court would be happy to let the lower courts deal with this one. That's my guess.
You're hearing a bunch of legal experts say the fact that Trump is publicly posting that he wanted Comey to be taken down, the fact that he has had years of calling for that, sets up Comey perfectly, even aside from the facts of the case, to argue that this is just a selective political persecution and have the case thrown out. Not to mention that on the facts, as we went through in previous segments, this is a pretty weak case as well, it seems. Dan Abrams also, who's kind of center right, I think, predicts there's a 95% plus chance Comey won't be convicted, and many in the Trump administration know that. But what I'm hearing is, why would you bring a case then, right? Why would you bring a case if even you know there's a really small chance it would be successful. And the reason is they want to harass him. So they feel like he's going to have to spend a bunch of money on his defense. He's going to have to spend all this time defending himself. And even if he ultimately wins the case, it's a burden to be legally harassed like this. And Trump says, that's what they did to me, right? And so he's trying to bog down Comey, even if he doesn't think he can put him in jail, which is psycho. And the genius who's tasked with doing this is a person by the name of Lindsay Halligan. And let's learn about Lindsay Halligan a little bit. You might remember that the Siebert guy was Eastern District of Virginia U.S. attorney. He said, I can't bring a case against Comey and Letitia James, to which Trump said, okay, you're fired, and I'm going to have an acting U.S. attorney on a limited time scale named Lindsay Halligan, who was his personal attorney in some capacity before, just like a personal aide, essentially, who said, all right, go be the U.S. attorney and prosecute my enemies, just out in the open. And there's a bunch of headlines like this. I don't love the whole from beauty queen, like apparently she's beauty queen. Whatever. I don't want to get into weird territories. It's just, what are we gonna just do that whole thing? Oh, what are we gonna say? His administration looks like the Fox News hosts. What do we say? Trump clearly picks people based on how they look and not their skill set. What are we gonna do that? No, I'm not gonna go there. It's like whatever headlines will call Kristi Noem Ice Barbie, and I get the humor, but I don't want to venture into territory that makes it about beauty or womanhood or things like that, or being blonde or something. It just doesn't seem substantive. This is a real roster of people who have been Fox anchors. And Trump likes to sort of pick a similar roster. No. So I don't know about that in headlines. Who cares? She was a beauty queen. Fine. You can be beauty queen and then also be very, whippersnapper, sharp as attack, and you could go on to do a bunch of different things. So I don't see that as relevant, and that is being brought up a lot. But I guess it's just people pointing to her lack of qualifications, which is true. Not because of the beauty queen part, but because of this part. 35-year-old Lindsay Halligan is an enigma to the legal community, which has never seen her successfully prosecute a federal criminal case. That's the real part. That's because she has never prosecuted a federal criminal case at all, and will essentially be learning on the job as she goes after Trump's top political enemy for allegedly perjuring himself before Congress in 2020. Trump called her tough, smart, and loyal. Loyal is the part he cares about. That's wild to put someone as a U.S. attorney, which is a highly important job, and then to go after your political enemies when they've never prosecuted a federal criminal case. And I think she was doing like insurance lawyering, whatever that is. Then again, see what I mean? Lindsay Halligan, the newly installed U.S. Attorney prosecutor James Comey at Trump's direction, is an insurance attorney and a Miss Colorado finalist. She has never prosecuted a case. Someone said merit is back. But I'm like, what are we including the Colorado part for? Who cares? Cool. Who cares? But they never prosecuted a case. That's very important. But yes, Trump definitely... The story of how they met was like they bumped into each other and he was like, what do you do? And she's like, oh, I'm an insurance lawyer or something. And he's like, I'm going to hire you. Oh, so we're just supposed to ignore what's obviously the reason he did that. They do DEI, but it's like, I wish I could think of a funny thing. I can't think of it right now. But it's like, it is, they got so mad, oh, they don't pick off merit, they pick off just identity. Oh, but that's what they do too, differently. They really do that. Oh, this is the administration of merit, they tell us. But then this is who the defense secretary is?
With the axe. Who's going to win this battle with the lumberjacks?
Really?
That's comes up next.
Look at this. He nearly impaled. I think he did impale a drummer. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah. This is the merit. This is the merit-based administration, we're told. Lindsay Halligan, who's never prosecuted a federal criminal case, bumped into Trump. Trump's like, come here, let me be my attorney. And now And now she's going to go after his enemies. While I continue through this is going to be an interesting clip. Click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It's free. I'd appreciate that. So just to give you a sense of, since we haven't, we've seen her on TV, but now that she has this highly important job, this was her explaining, because she was tasked with making the Smithsonian not so woke before. I mean, she's really been up to important stuff recently. And so she went on TV to defend that.
Classrooms shouldn't be stages upon which teachers can preach their various indoctrination masquerading as eternal truths. And similarly, museums that are over 70% funded by the federal government shouldn't be laboratories for political experiments. And so what we're doing is we just sent a letter to the Smithsonian asking for all information regarding their exhibits and their placards to try to get to the bottom of what happened and where the Smithsonian went wrong, and try to make the Smithsonian amazing and great and live up to what the president wants the Smithsonian and DC to be. It's the capital of our city, and we need to make it amazing and great and beautiful.
Yeah, Lindsay, I mean, obviously, Charlotte and I both lived in D.C. for a number of years. I love the Smithsonian's and visiting them, taking family and friends there. And we often talk about preserving history in museums and not erasing it. But how do you balance that? That, we need to be able to review this while honoring even our not so pleasant past.
That was interesting the way he worded that. He said, we talk about... What did he say? Sorry, I'm so sorry. I should have listened better. There was something so interesting.
Smithsonian's and visiting them, taking family and friends there. And we often talk about preserving history in museums and not erasing it. But how do you balance that?
We often talk about preserving history and not erasing it. But at some point, we got to strike a balance, between preserving and erasing the stuff that we don't like. There is a balance to be had, Lindsay, is there not? It's wait, exactly. That is what you think.
We need to be able to review this while honoring even our not so pleasant past.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about whitewashing. It's all about full context. So while slavery is obviously a horrible aspect of our nation's history, you can't really talk about slavery honestly unless you also talk about hope and progress. And I think we need to be focusing on the progress that we've made since then, and we need to stop focusing so much on the lack of progress. We need to...
Well, strong delivery. So... what would you say is in line with that when Trump just ordered the removal of portraits of slaves from national parks? How does that put more emphasis on the progress and less emphasis on the lack of progress? As she put it, she said we gotta emphasize the progress and not the lack. Cool. So how does that work? Just taking away mentions at national parks, it seems you are just sort of erasing, right? Because I'm all about talking about progress in America, and we can be great despite our atrocities of the past. That's me. That's all I'm all about it. But just taking away very compelling, so compelling I'm gonna vomit, portraits of slaves is not how I see us doing that at all. Okay, what else? This is interesting. So back on the Comey issue. Now we kind of know Lindsay Halligan. There's a really ironic part of Lindsay Halligan's case against Trump. Lordy, an opinion piece writes from Mediaite, Trump nailing Comey over leaks that actually helped him defeat Hillary is peak irony. In a political irony so profound it could be mistaken for satire, former FBI Director Jim Comey has been indicted by the Trump administration for what appears to be alleged lying about authorizing a leak to the Wall Street Journal concerning the Clinton Foundation, a leak many argue played a pivotal role in Donald Trump's 2016 presidential victory. So, based on what's in the indictment, people are connecting the dots and assuming the leak at issue, because this all centers around Comey claiming he didn't authorize someone else to leak. And the argument from the government is Comey, when he said he didn't authorize the leak, knew that he had authorized. Not that a leak happened, that he knew he had authorized the leak, someone else to do it. Potentially McCabe, his, at that point, deputy FBI director. And the story that people are assuming this is in relation to is a Clinton Foundation FBI investigation story that was harmful to Hillary Clinton. So he's being prosecuted, it seems, from what we can tell, for lying, which I don't even know if he did. I think there's compelling evidence he didn't, and someone else did it without his authorization, about a leak that helped Trump. But because this was the era we were in, which, hey, Democrats, can we make sure this next time? I get Hillary got wronged in a lot of ways in that election, and between her and Trump, it should have been Hillary and all of that. But can we please pick someone where there's not even something we can whataboutism with, or they can't whataboutism with? Can we please pick someone where there aren't any things they can grab? Emails, Clinton Foundation, investigation. Because at that time, Trump was just every reason for us not to vote for him. But still, Americans were able to be a little bit distracted by Wall Street Journal reporting about the Clinton Foundation and clashes from within the FBI about how to handle their investigatory process. And then right before the election, we found new things, emails, Hillary, whoa. Can we just get someone with the cleanest slate? Even if we know it's just a little bit dirty slate will be misrepresented to be a disgusting plate. Well, what if we had nothing? What if we just didn't even have a slate? Why did I switch from slate to plate? What if we just didn't even have a slate at all? What if this person we just manufacture in a lab? What if it's not even a person? Can we run on a person? Can we run a robot? AI is getting pretty good. I might actually be in favor of running a robot in 2028. So that is really ironic, and it goes on to say, in the shadow of that announcement, Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe allegedly leaked details about the Clinton Foundation investigation in October of 2016, per the Wall Street Journal's own reporting. Comey had consistently denied authorizing the leak. McCabe admitted he acted post factum. The Department of Justice Inspector General investigated and sided with Comey, while earlier line prosecutors concluded there was insufficient evidence to pursue charges. So not only is this case weak and flimsy and flaccid, but it also would be trying to get him for lying about, which previous investigations weren't able to prove, and actually the Inspector General sided with him, something that happened that helped Trump's campaign. Psycho. McCabe went on CNN and spoke about this.
The indictment says that Comey lied in 2017 and then again in 2020 when he was asked about the 2017 testimony, when he denied having ever, quote, authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation, unquote. Given your experience with Comey, was he honest when he said he had never authorized a leak?
All I can say to that, Jake, is I'm not aware of Jim Comey ever authorizing some other person to leak information. That's not something I experienced personally. It's not something I saw in all the time I spent working around Jim Comey.
All right, you see, he's saying Jim. What are we doing Jim for? What are we doing Jim for? James is already one syllable. Isn't that why we do nicknames? And now our alarm's going off. So... Oh, you really like Jim that much, do you? Is that why you're getting on my case? Comey taped an interview before. It'll go away. Don't worry about it. Shortly before, it's a fire. It's fine. It'll consume me or it'll be over. It'll be fine. Before this indictment came down, and had this to say.
That was last night. And now, first here on The Arena, here on CNN, we can give you a little insight into how James Comey was thinking and feeling about Donald Trump months before this indictment. In an exclusive interview for a forthcoming CNN original series, the interview conducted on May 22nd of 2025 this year, Comey reflected on his firing and his relationship with President Trump. It's pretty remarkable. Let's watch.
Yeah, I'm still considered a villain in MAGA world. I hope I said that correctly, although I've offended enough people in MAGA world, it doesn't matter at this point. I'm not sure exactly why that is. I often joke I'm the relationship that Trump can't get over, wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about me and how I'm living my best life. I think it has some combination of I really have had a happy, productive life since then, and that I spoke out about him, and that despite their absolute best efforts, they were never able to get me.
Yeah, you know what's funny? He quoted Taylor Swift there, or at least his telling. You remember in the Taylor, he did post a video being like, "Hey, bullies are gonna bully, but like Taylor Swift said, don't let them get on you. Like, don't let it get to you." And in that, he said Trump can't stand that Taylor Swift living her best life. And now about himself, he's saying Trump can't handle that I'm living my best life. He tried to destroy my reputation, but didn't realize I was a lover. And he's seeing red. He's so angry at me. And so I bet he wishes he could go back to 1989. Right? If you haven't seen that Comey video, it was so funny. Taylor Swift's living her best life, and I admire her for that. So yeah, I mean, I do think it drives Trump crazy, and it's interesting he said that right before. Now Trump's trying to get him, but I still don't think Trump's going to be able to get him because of how weak the case is. But Lindsey Graham, hyped about this, doesn't even understand the case. If you hear anyone in media go, yeah, it's about time James Comey is held accountable for Russiagate, they don't know what they're talking about. This is not him. He's not being prosecuted for how he handled the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. That's not true. It's not, he allowed himself to run with fake charges against Trump. He investigated fake claims and that hurt Trump. That's not what this is about. It's about him lying under oath, seemingly about something related to the Clinton Foundation. Not even that investigation, okay? So they don't, and that's what he's about to do. I can't believe that it took this long for blah, blah, blah.
But there's so much else. For 10 years, I've been talking to you about this. Crossfire Hurricane was opened up in July 2016 along the premise that Donald Trump was an agent of Russia, that had a golden shower experience in Russia. He was corrupt in terms of his dealings with Russia, that he was working with Russia to undermine the 2016 presidential election.
I don't even know why he brought up the golden showers. No one's talking about that. No one's talking about that. It was some not true rumor, Steele dossier, right? That Trump took golden showers in Russia or something with prostitutes. They wanted us to believe that Trump had taken golden showers with prostitutes, and that's not true. And if it were, why the hell would Trump not have invited me? I'd never get it. I hear golden shower this, golden shower that, and I'm never invited to the golden showers. If you don't know what a golden shower is, it's when like people pee on you. Oh, actually easier to say that than that. I was about to say it's, how do I say this? That's how I say it. They urinate on you. It's sort of like in a sexual context, which, you know, I don't want to kink shame, but I just wonder how that becomes someone's kink. You know? Like what a dog they really liked as a kid beat on them, and then like something got triggered in their mind. How does that become? Okay, cool. Chuck Schumer had this to say about. This is about Trump deploying the military to Portland.
Is there anything you can do to stop it, as in Congress?
Yes. First, we will fight it in the courts, along with people who will file suits. But second, I would hope, Kristen, that some of our Republican colleagues, seeing I know they're loyal to Trump and does whatever he wants, but this is so far stepping over the line that I'd hope some of them would join us in legislation to prevent it from happening. Okay. We have such a proposal. I'm part of it.
Chuck, we got. I agree. You would imagine small government Republicans, you remember small government Republicans, would not be down with the military being deployed at Trump's will to American cities. But can we stop with this? I just hope that Republicans will find their backbone and support my bill to revoke Trump's authority to deploy the military to. They're not going to. They're not going to. Your message needs to be, honestly, attacking the Republicans. We got to stop with this, like, for 10 years ago and maybe Republicans will stop. They won't. They still support the guy who was in Russia having golden showers all over him. Lindsay, I'm kidding. Not really. I know that. I know you wanted to be a part of them. No, I don't know why he didn't invite you, but I don't even think that really happened. I don't think that. Okay, good. Go away. Shut up. And they still support him even after that. Didn't happen. They still support him. So don't get your hopes up that you're going to get them to support a bill to stop him from doing this.